What's good, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of the What's Good Games podcast. Normally your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. Yes, I am still Andrea Renee, joined by Miss Brittany Brombacher. Hello. And Mrs. Riana Manuel-Peña.
I did not slap myself today.
That's great news.
That is good. I think we should not add any
talk
context.
About slapping ourselves or the news or commentary about the news. Instead, we're talking about our game of the year so far. Dun, dun, dun. Or maybe it's more like like an air horn.
That's what I was
thing.
going for. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. It vibed.
Don't make me bust out the soundboard because I'll do it.
Oh shit.
No.
Don't get stuck in
Chipmunk
Chipmunk
Andrea.
voice.
Still one of the most hilarious clips of all time. Just me being silly. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year. Because it is the Independence Day holiday, summer break is happening in the United States, we are doing our recap of what we've played so far. And if we were talking about Game of the Year right now, what would it be? And there's some good ones so far this year.
Oh yeah.
And I thought my list was solid. Like I thought it wasn't getting any better than this. And then we got all these other announcements that are coming in the latter half. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know what it's going to be.
I'm still not caught up from 2023. Heck, I'm still not caught up from like 2018. I'm behind.
Oh, we're all behind.
I'm very behind, everybody. But I want to say thank you to this month's super producers, Faris Attieh, Justin Foshee, Joshua Franklin, and Punkdefied. Thank you for supporting us and everybody who is supporting us at whatsgoodgames.supercast.com, where you can also support the show. And if you don't have a couple bucks to toss our way, a 5-star review would help us out a lot, wouldn't it, Britt?
It absolutely would. You don't have to do a lot. Just write a nice little sentence there, toss it our way. We'll be eternally grateful.
Yeah. Well, Brittany, I love that you are kicking things off because this has been a year for you. And at Summer Game Fest, all of those announcements you alluded to, you were like, Brittany's eating good this year.
I am fat and happy, ladies. That's all
It's the
I
Brit
know.
show, everybody.
It is the Brit show. Yeah, I mean, God, like last year was phenomenal for video games. And then I got to kick off this year with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which released on January 16th. Hard to believe it's been that long already, but it has. And this game ended up being one of my favorite video games of all time. It solidified the Yakuza / Like a Dragon franchise as my favorite franchise of all time, above everything else. And I mean, like, I don't know how anything can possibly beat this for me this year, except for Dragon Age, Velgard, oh my god. But anywho, so yeah, this game essentially is just a sequel to Yakuza Like a Dragon, which came out in 2020. If you want to get real nerdy with it, Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, that also came out in 2023. Ichiban is searching for his mom. He happens to run into Kiryu, which is like, why are you here, you dragon of Dojima? And they're all looking for Ichiban's mom. What's that all about? Who knows? But the main thing is the setting takes place in Honolulu. And being in Honolulu, this is probably one of my favorite maps I've ever been in. Granted, there's no shortage of stuff to do in this game. It's a Yakuza Like a Dragon game. Like, there is mini games and Crazy Delivery, which is like Crazy Taxi. There was the whole Sujimon system, which is like Pokemon Dondoko Island, which was like its version of Animal Crossing. There were dungeons, side stories, all sorts of stuff. So there's lots to do in Honolulu, but even if you didn't want to do that kind of stuff, you could just walk around and just be immersed and be entertained and just live your best life. It was so beautiful and so pretty, and there was always something going on. So, I mean, when I just wanted to just do nothing, that's literally what I did. I just walked around and I was entertained for hours on end. So incredibly impressive that they were able to pull that off. Obviously, you go to more traditional settings like Yokohama and Kamurocho. But the main thing for this one that just really like drove home for me is, you know, the plot point that Kiryu has cancer and it's not looking good. All the doctors are like, yo, you got to prepare. You're not doing too hot. And he's put off treatment for a really long time. There's lots of narrative reasons for that. But he has what's called a bucket list. And in this bucket list, he gets to go throughout some of the more iconic locations of the game and see some of the most key characters and revisit some key moments that have happened over the course of God, how many games are there? Like 9, 10 at this point? I don't even know. It's something high up there. Very, very emotional, very beautiful. And this game had me crying, laughing, cheering, staying up till 4 a.m., like on multiple occasions. And I don't know if a game has ever quite punched me in the soul like this one has. So Yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. Oh my God. Like even just seeing like this moment that Andrea showed on YouTube, like I'm getting fucking choked up because that's such an iconic moment. I literally watch that moment like weekly. Okay. Anyway, yes, I love this game so much. I don't know. The only game that could possibly beat this for me will be Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And even then I don't know. But yeah.
We all knew that this was going to be on your list and how fitting that it launched in January, so it got to be first. So for people who have never been on or gone on the experience of our Game of the Year so far episode, we like to start and go in chronological order with the games that have come out starting in January. So, but February, man. February was really stacked. It feels like a lot of our picks so far for this year all came out in like a 4 to 5 week span.
Yep.
And the next one I am super excited about and have really enjoyed my time with. And you talk about being up late. I had many, many late nights, or I should say early mornings probably feels a little bit more accurate. And every time without fail, when I stayed up late to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, my daughter would wake up instantly when I would go to bed. It'd be 3 a.m. I'd be finally in bed. Nope. She'd be like, Mommy. And I'm like, no, I only have like 3 hours of sleep. But this game was just incredible. And Brittany, I know that you're a fan too.
I was such a fan of this game. Absolutely loved it. What's really impressive is that this is a remake of a game that came out in 1997. It takes place after Midgar, and it goes to the, I think, City of the Ancients. If you know Final Fantasy VII, you know what that means. If you don't, that's okay. But literally, I have in my notes, the rebirthing of key locations in this game was just so well done. I mean, when you take a game that's from 97 and you make it in 2024, like expectations are high, especially for an IP as beloved as this. So like, for example, like they took a simple town, the town of Calm is the one I'm thinking of specifically, where there's just like a few buildings, there's not a lot to do there. They turned it into this beautiful, like Victorian sprawling location where you could just spend 3 to 4 hours just like hanging around and just doing whatever the hell you wanted to do. I mean, I think about Junon, the fishing village, how they reinvented that one, and the Golden Saucer. Not only that, but they took some really key narrative moments and flipped the order in which they happened and really changed some things up, which is, you know, to be expected, knowing what we know about kind of where the direction of this game is going. But it was so fun for someone who knows the story of Final Fantasy VII very well, and it gave me something to look forward to. I didn't think I was just going to get the same story retold to me, and I didn't. So as someone, you know, who's loved Final Fantasy VII for a while and knows the story, it was just really interesting for me on that perspective to just like deep dive into the story, be like, oh, they changed this. What could this mean? And they just did it so beautifully and so well done. I mean, another thing I want to commend Square for, but also kind of slap them on the wrist about this, was all the amount of mini games in this game.
There was so many. I'm like, why is there another one? Just let me play Queen's Blood. Let
me just play Queen's Blood and let me like wrangle chickens without having to drag like bait, you know, across like this landscape for like 5 to 10 minutes. Like it was pretty freaking impressive. Like, literally, like there's so much chicken wrangling. There was not. It was just one mission. You know, and obviously Queen's Blood in itself is worth all of the flowers. Like how that game, we need the standalone. We need it.
Yes, I would play that so much on iOS. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. And the maps I thought were so beautiful and sprawling, and the music. This is probably one of the best soundtracks in all of video games, like hands down.
If it doesn't win all of the music categories at any award show that it could possibly be nominated for, I don't know what's happening. I'm so glad you brought that up, because sometimes video game composition and music can be overlooked. But much like movies, it is so powerful and impactful. And every piece of music was tailored to the specific area that it is being used in, down to the fact that some side quests had their own ditties, their own little pieces of music just for the side quest.
And they were bops.
It was just all so good and so different.
So good. It was just, I mean, it's literally probably, like I said, one of the best, and no question. The other thing, too, that I think this game personally for me really did is it honestly made me feel like I was a teenager again playing a Final Fantasy game for the first time. I think since Final Fantasy IX, which was like the last time I felt really this sense of magic and awe and wonder from a Final Fantasy game. This was the first time I've experienced that since then, and that was in 2001. And that is just so magical that as a 36-year-old, I can still feel that sense of magic. And like I said earlier, awe and wonder keep coming to mind. So for that alone, I mean, nods up the ass. And, you know, I'm not going to get into the narrative of this, but obviously the stuff that happens in this game is just like, what? Like mind blowing. During one of the battles, I was literally sobbing so hard I could not see my screen. And it's not like anyone had died or someone had become lost. It was just such an emotional moment that I was just absolutely sobbing. It wasn't even the end of the game. But I mean, I've never sobbed like that before. I texted Jason before. I was like, do not come up here. I'm having a moment. Leave me alone. And again, like for a game to get that much emotion out of me is just, it's not common. So,
well, I think the thing that we talked about, but now that I've played so much more of the game since it launched, is that, yes, it's that wacky, over the top, silly Final Fantasy-ness of the game that is easy to poke fun at. But what Rebirth really did well, especially for people like me who weren't familiar with the narrative, is the deep dives into how these characters know each other and their backstories in particular, and learning who they are, where they came from, what makes them the player or the character that they are, that we come across in Rebirth, to me was super impactful. Like I was looking at my notes, and so many of my notes are about these like silly, funny moments, but so many of them are also about the really touching ones. Like I have in my notes here, Barrett and Dine. Jesus. Just like in all capitals because of the storyline and what happens, you know, in Barrett's storyline. And then also, you know, Tifa's whole storyline that they show is also just, you know, super intense. And so much of it is so relatable, and like the interpersonal dynamics between the characters, something that you don't expect to get necessarily in a big Japanese role-playing game that's so combat focused like this. And it was just such a nice surprise that I hope people who maybe were on the fence about playing this game or haven't tried it yet really do make the time for it, because I just loved every moment of it. It's just such an incredible piece of game making. Oh, hold on a second. I lost audio with you guys, and I don't know why. Did I hit the wrong thing? What's going on? I'm gonna just hang up the Discord call and come right back.
Sounds
There you are.
Hello.
That's just the weirdest why it does that sometimes.
Good job, Discord.
Yeah. I mean, we heard you. That's any consolation.
Doesn't help though. Okay, so I guess I have a good like pickup point there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Audacity's still running.
Yeah,
So we're good.
everything's still going.
I don't see though.
Oh yeah, I don't see the.
Oh, hold on. Yes, let me do this. Yep.
There we are.
There you go.
Excellent.
All right.
Cool.
I mean, we ended that pretty solidly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Just do it. And I'm sorry to everyone who's been waiting for our spoiler cast. We had to make last minute rescheduling with our girl, Alexa Ray, and we hope that we can bring that to you sometime before the end of the year. I guess that's all I can say at this point.
That's enough.
Because I have things I have to say. Like, I have questions, Brittany.
Oh yeah.
Like,
You're not the only
about
one.
like Bugenhagen and Nanake
Bugenhagen.
and
Nanaki.
Nanaki. All the things. And like
Nanaki.
Kate Sith. Cat Sith? What?
Yeah.
What is
yeah.
what is
Oh,
this
girl.
character? I have
I could
questions.
blow your fucking mind with all that.
I'm ready, but we only can do it in the spoiler cast.
Yes, it's true.
Because I don't want people to be, you know, spoiled.
Oh yeah.
Also, I have who the hell is Glenn? Question mark. So many. I think you'll get a kick out of my notes. All right.
I'm very excited.
I feel like I want to pivot to Riana, and then we'll come back
Okay.
to yours, Britt, because I think this
Yeah.
one was early in the month as well. I guess technically in the month of February, we're not going in chronological order since Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was at the end of February. But Riana, I'm so glad that you're into this game that I am also into called Balatro.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I have not played this. Tell me everything.
So Balatro is a roguelite poker game, and that doesn't at all capture how fun it is.
No,
because
that's
it sounds
that's
like
a very
But that's technically how they describe themselves. This is a game where you're deck building, you're trying to beat a score to consistently pass different checkpoints, level up your deck, get bigger and bigger combos. The numbers keep going up. It is very exciting. If you get a really hot hand, there's like this feedback where you get like everything starts shaking and then your score counter starts to set on fire. It is very, very exciting stuff. Don't let the whole it's a poker game part like dim the excitement. But it's also very, very silly, very wacky. There's a core gameplay loop of where you are making different poker hands. There's different ways to upgrade your hands, like getting special cards that make your hand get multiplied higher or give you additional points for each card. There are different ways that you can get more and more hands per round, so you can get higher and higher scores. You can discard for certain benefits. You can transform the cards in your deck to be better. There's lots of ways to sort of upgrade all of the pieces that go along to your poker hand puzzle. But what I really love the most about Balatro is the secret, like, sneaky humor. Ooh. There are these cards called jokers, and they're one of the cards that you kind of put at the top of your hand, your screen, in order to impact every hand you play. And there are jokers that are it's very simple. It's like every hand you make, you can add 1.5 multiplier to it. Something very straightforward. But then there's really silly ones or really interesting ones where my favorite was a misprint, where the card looks like everything was blurred when it was printed out because, this is a digital screen. Obviously it wasn't. But every time you hover over it, the multiplier changes every second. And it's random, and it'll be different every single round you use it. And there's just so many interesting little quirks that they've incorporated here because this is a digital way to play a traditional poker hand. There's so much more freedom, and they can do really fun, clever things like that. So I really enjoyed this game. There is a quote unquote end game, but there's also an endless mode where, you just keep trying to beat a larger and larger target goal, a target score. And I don't know. I feel like this is a game for everyone. If you like puzzles, if you like challenge, if you like, like sneaky humor, if you like a chill game that you can pause and pick up and come back to at any point, like it is perfect. Like it's a perfect gap filler for your day.
I couldn't agree more. When I originally started playing this, I became quickly obsessed with it, like a lot of people have been. And it's just such a fun game to play on Steam Deck is where I've been playing it. And
same.
I just love how simple it is to pick up and put down. You can pause it at any time. You can walk away at any time. The rules are super easy, but there's this really deep level of strategy that comes once you get to the later hands, the later antes, as they call them. And the jokers just give this amazing dynamic to the game that is so unexpected, and you'll soon come to find that there's certain jokers that you like to play and there's certain modifiers that are more fun. But much like classic card games like poker, blackjack, even like solitaire, there's something just so satisfying about the repetition of it and playing the same thing and just getting slightly better and having that variation. And I think that they really just have nailed this formula to the point that I never would have expected a game like this to have been as impactful and successful as it is. It's just an excellent game not to be missed.
Fun.
Yes, play Balatro. And they have a physical version coming with actual cards, which is what the internet asked them for. So that's very exciting.
Oh, that's fun too. Oh, man.
Yeah,
love it.
Get that.
Yeah. Britt, your next pick is a little unexpected. In fact, I saw this and was like, did we talk about this on the show? And you were like, I don't think so.
No, I don't think I've ever talked about this game. It's something Jason and I have just been playing like super chill for the past couple months, and we just finished it actually this weekend. So it's the perfect time to talk about it. It's called Secrets of Grindea. It could be pronounced Grindea. I don't know, but Grindea is what's in my head, so that's what I'm going to call it. So this is developed by Pixel Ferrets, which is a team of 3. and it just came out in February of this year. And so it's an SNES style action adventure RPG. Right now it's only on Steam, but I believe because it's been so successful that they're looking to bring it to consoles at some time in the future. So in terms of aesthetic, I would say you could think of it like A Link to the Past, Secret of Mana, with a little bit of crosscode in there. And it's cool because it supports up to 4-player online co-op right now. I know they are also looking at implementing local co-op at some point. But man, talk about like a wet dream for me. Like the aesthetic of this game, the look of this game, the way the game feels, and its co-op. Oh my God, it was just easily top 3 of my year so far. Like so fucking good. So what's really cool too about this game, a little bit of history, that is it was in development for 13 years. So since 2011, yeah, it was just a team of 3, and they were developing like this game that they're super jazzed about. They had some prior projects, or the creator did, that were starting to dry up in terms of revenue. So they're like, yo, what if we put this game on Steam Early Access in 2014? And that is when I bought it. Was in 2015 is when I bought this game on Steam Early Access. So I mean, I've owned this game for a very, very long time. The Early Access did pretty well for them, and so they were able to continue development and then keep expanding and adding, and then finally it just came out this year. And Jason Schreier had an article about them, and according to them, in that article, it sold more than 300,000 copies. So they're doing very well, and I'm just so happy about the success that they're seeing. So anyway, the story of it: you are a young hero or heroine in this town, this land, and you are going to become a collector. And what is a collector? They're someone who searches the realm for the best loot and artifacts and like all that good stuff. Citizens also see you as kind of a hero of sorts, so of course they're going to have problems. It's like your typical like main quest / side quest relationship. Lots of to do, lots of side quests to see and seek out. And I think what just really and the story is like good too, but I think what really carries this is the NPCs. They are so well written, and there are just so many funny moments in this game. Even people like you interact with once will say something that's so fucking funny that Jason and I would just sit there and like laugh all night. Really funny stuff. Even like your sidekick is this talking bag who has this really dry sense of humor, but he's actually quite a dick. And he also he's not actually a dick. Hold on, let me rephrase that. He's an asshole. He's not even an asshole. He's mean. And he is always breaking down the fourth wall between you and the game. So it's just like, you can tell that like 13 years of development, you're thinking, oh no, development hell. Maybe it was, I don't know. But you can tell that they took that time and really created something special with a lot of thought and a lot of attention to detail in this game. So, I mean, I just love going to all the towns and talking to all the NPCs, and the music in this game is just, again, like one of the top soundtracks. Jason's been listening to the soundtrack for, I think, like a couple months now, just nonstop. It is just so freaking good. Andrew Riley from Lucky Lion Studios deserves all of the props. He's the one who composed it. It is phenomenal. There's side stuff you can do, like fishing and crafting, and there's pets that you can build up. You can design your own home and acquire things and just personalize it. There's just so much to do, and there's even another level of stuff to do in this game if you like dig deep for it. I did not, so we did not get the best ending that you could have gotten, but we did Google what you need to do to get the best ending, and like it goes deep. There's some stuff you just have to do, and you would not know to look for it unless you just took your time exploring. But I mean, like, it's just, there's skill trees, so many skills and so many like things to do and like customize your character. Like, I cannot say enough good things about it. It is just, like I said at the top, my RPG 90s wet dream in 2024. It is just really, really fucking good. There does need to be a little bit of optimizing when it comes to leveling and the gear. Maybe when, they look at porting it, they can add some patches and additional gear, because it's the sort of thing where you're halfway through the game and you're like, I haven't changed my gear since the very beginning. And then by the end of the game, you haven't changed your gear since like the halfway point. So I guess that means you haven't changed your gear since the halfway point at all. And so that was kind of like, if it's an RPG, you want to constantly be upgrading. But other than all of that, man, fucking good. I highly recommend people checking this out, especially since it supports co-op. So much fun. I'm so happy I got to talk about it now.
Do you think that this game has the potential to go cult hit kind of like Sea of Stars did?
100%. Like, no question. Like, I think this could be bigger than Sea of Stars, honestly.
Wow, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, I know Sea of Stars is coming out with co-op, but like that's not out yet. And the thing too with like us 90s kids who grew up with these sorts of games too is like, you think of Secret of Mana, right? Which was an RPG that had co-op. Like, holy shit, like a phenomenal, iconic game. This one feels very much like that. It has co-op. Sea of Stars is great, but like it missed co-op. And I mean, not that it needed that, but I think if it had it, and I know it's coming, it would just excel it to further heights. But yeah, I think absolutely this could be bigger than Sea of Stars if it gets the right pushing and publishing behind it. But I mean, I'm really excited for Pixel Ferrets. I mean, they're a team of 3. They've put their heart and souls into this game. They've worked really hard, and now they're getting their rewards for it, and it's great. So hopefully it'll come to Switch and every other console out there. Very good.
I think that this would be right at home on the Switch. So I would imagine that if they aren't already talking to Nintendo, that they have begun that chat. I'm sure it's just about how do we make the port. Because clearly a small team working exclusively on PC, porting it to Nintendo's hardware isn't, you just flip a switch and it happens. That's not how game dev works, everybody.
I forgot one part I have to bring up.
This feels like
real
a perfect fit for the Switch.
Yeah, it would be. And I got to talk about the actual grinding in this game because there is grinding, obviously. So it's cool because there's a bunch of creatures in the game. I don't know how many, like maybe 100, maybe less, doesn't matter. Every creature has a card that's unique to it. So like if the slimes all have like one slime card, like the boars that you fight all have one boar card. And every time you defeat one, you have some percentage chance of them dropping their card, which gets you a permanent buff to your character. The grind comes in because sometimes that percentage is 0.5%. So, but they're constantly spawning, and you kind of get into this groove. And the more you kill, the higher that percentage goes up. Many nights after Jason and I maybe had like a rough day, we would just sit in total silence and just grind for like 15 to 20 minutes, leveling up, collecting cards. It was just really fun. It almost felt like when you're searching tall grass, trying to find like the Pokemon that you want. So that's another addictive component to it. So anyway, yeah, I could talk about this game forever. Very good game.
I love that you finally talked about it. You've just been secretly playing it in the background, and
I it was my little game that I didn't have to worry about critiquing, or I didn't have to worry about talking about it. But then I was like, there's not a lot of critique. I love this game. And I'm gonna talk about it. It's nice.
Well, now everybody knows. If you want that in your life, go check it out.
Yeah, very
out
good.
now.
Mm-hmm.
This next one, I am excited to talk about in the sense that it was such a zeitgeist moment, but then actually it was really fun to play too. Because sometimes, we get games that are water cooler moments that are not necessarily great games, but they're great experiences. And this just happens to be, at least my experience has been positive on both sides of that. And that is, of course, Helldivers 2, everybody, for democracy. And I'll admit, I didn't want to play this game at first because I was like, it's the thing everyone's playing. It can't possibly be good. And then I was like, oh no, this game is really fun. And I don't have time to play another game like this. But what a surprise that a game that seems so simple and is so simple actually just has such a great gameplay loop. And Riana, I know you and I played multiple times together, even though you did kill me on multiple occasions. I'm pretty sure I probably killed you a couple of times as well.
That's considered a feature, not.
Rita, that was so good.
Feature, not a bug, but there are lots of bugs in this game too.
Lots of bugs. We hate the bugs. Hate the robots even more. I don't ever want to fight them. I only land on bug planets because it's too hard to fight those damn robots.
They're nasty.
They are really tough. But this game is, as you said, it's just good old fashioned fun. Like you are quote unquote fighting for democracy. There's this really great, tongue in cheek Starship Troopers type of satire vibe to it. So it's very fun to lean in. And of course, everybody's seen all the memes and the. What is it? The one from the girl saluting in front of the American flag, waving in the background. Like we use that so many times as be like, okay, are we playing? Just salute. But honestly, it's the team chaos that I like the most about this game. Yes, it's fun to drop in and hear that bomb ass drop in music and put a bunch of your ordinances down, and you grab a minigun and then you take out a couple of nests and you fight a big bug and you extract. But it's honestly more fun when everybody dies.
It's so right.
It's just so funny. There's just so many moments that you literally remember. Oh, hello, grenade. It's just good. It's just good times, and it brings you back to all those fun co-op moments that you used to have in couch co-op. But like because their friendly fire is always turned on and always turned up, like it makes it even better. And I just love a game that can bring joy. And the shooting is solid. The enemy difficulty is solid. The loot grind is a little bit slow for me, for my taste, but
Yeah.
The connected community that they've built around it is, second to none. I think it's one of the best communities that we've seen in a long time. Like everybody's really genuinely excited. They're pretty much overwhelmingly positive and just super into the game. They bring in real life elements and, social accounts start playing around with them. And there's just this huge community that feels like they're all working towards the same goal. And I love it. I love games like this. I love moments like this.
Agreed. Just so many fun moments. I'm with you that is there room for improvement? Absolutely. Is this going to win Game of the Year in any categories? Probably not. I mean, I think it's going to be nominated for multiplayer experience because it's so fun and potentially for best combat, but it's not really about that for me. It was about everything that you mentioned, the community coming together, the fun that we had playing, and just how tight the gameplay loop was. I mean, I do want some more colors for the suits. I don't feel like that's asking too much to have deeper customization there, but maybe it's coming in a future update.
Yeah, I'll go back for a future update if they put some cute outfits in there. That'll get me back.
Yeah, and they have been, of course, adding more things to the game, doing timed events, and that's been really fun to kind of see the community come together and be like, are we going hell diving tonight? Are we spreading democracy tonight? Kind of vibes, and that's super fun. And our friend of the show, Naomi Kyle, put out a really funny social media video using the meme from Avengers where Thor drifts into the screen to kind of distract, and it's her trying to play all of these other things, but then it's Helldivers 2 being like, hey.
Very
so shout out to Naomi for that. That was a brilliant piece of social media content. But yeah, that was super, super fun. In a completely different vein, but also super fun and having a vibe and a moment. Hades 2.
Oh my God. Hades 2, Hades 2, Hades 2.
Fan yourself,
This
baby.
was your most anticipated game of 2024, right?
It still is.
Technically, it's not out yet. It's still in early
Technically, it
access.
hasn't
I love
released. No, but we played it. Like, there's a game there. There's stuff to talk about. So this is, as you said, in early access. We don't know officially when it's coming, but this is enough game to be a full game, right? Like, they are, and when I say they, I mean Supergiant, incredibly skilled at crafting worlds like this. Like, we've seen it before time and time again. They've had bangers like Transistors and Hades one before Transistor, Hades one before this. This is just even more Supergiant yumminess. So in Hades 2, you're playing as Malinoway. She is the younger sister of Zagreus, which is the protagonist of the first Hades game. So still part of that same family. You're still dealing with the pantheon of gods, although there's a slightly different flavor to it this time. Malinoway is a witch, an immortal witch. And so her mentor is Hecate, and they cast spells around a cauldron to level up the world and to give her different boosts while she goes into her runs. She has wands and things that she casts in order to fight enemies, and the gods treat her a little bit differently than they did Zagreus. There's a different spin on the conversations and the interactions that she has with all of them. So some of them have changed since the first game, which is really interesting to see if you've played a lot of the first, especially if you've beaten Hades more than one time. And many, many times. There's lots of different lore and story that starts to unfold. There is a whole nother level. So Malinoway is trying to defeat the god Kronos. And there's also an opportunity for her to go up to the surface. As you know, Hades' children can't survive on the surface. So there's some additional layers to that, story-wise and gameplay-wise. And there's an entirely separate map that you can play through up there. So it is just more of what you love. There's small little farming mechanics. There's an Arcana deck that you can start to unlock to give yourself different ways to min-max your playthrough and your permanent RPG upgrades, and there's even more weapons, even more trinkets. There's even more of the Skelly guy making jokes whenever you go to fight him as a training dummy. Like it's just fucking great. It's just fucking great. And also Moros is hot. It doesn't matter that he brings you bad news. He's still really sweet. And I don't know. I just love it. Everybody's fantastic in this game. The voice acting is wonderful. The art isn't even done, and it's fantastic. Like some of the sketch art that's in placeholder is still most beautiful game art I've ever seen. Like they just nail this type of game. They absolutely know what they're doing.
Oh God, you've got me aroused over here, girl.
I'm aroused.
I'm aroused. Shit, I can't wait for this. And we don't know. That's what you said. We don't know when this is coming out.
We don't know. They're being pretty coy about it, but they're taking feedback. They've made a couple updates already, so I think it's this year. I would guess it's this year.
Okay.
It feels like the game is so done. I mean, and I know that it's not, because putting a game in early access means that the developers really want to take into account feedback, and they want to test some things and balance some things and really tinker. But since there's so much of the game that's playable, I mean, essentially it's a full game in early access. It's kind of hard to go, how is this game not a 2024 release?
Yeah.
But Supergiant is a fantastic team, and they are an independent team, and they can take all the time they want. This game will be great if it comes out this year, next year, or many years from now.
And shout out to Darren Cord once again, giving us an OST for the ages. I need another vinyl IM8-bit, please. And thank you.
If anyone from IM8-bit is listening, more vinyls, please. I'm sure they already have something in the works if I had to make a guess.
Absolutely. I'm already ready to press purchase.
Yeah, it's never not surprising to me how wildly popular vinyl is right now, particularly video game vinyls. I never would have guessed that vinyl would have such a huge comeback.
Right.
And it's one of the biggest physical pieces of merchandise in the video games ecosphere right now, which is wild.
It's pretty cool. I like it. Keep it alive.
Yeah, it's analog, kids.
What if they started bringing back cassette tapes?
I would love that. I would personally love that.
I know.
Rewinding it with your pencil eraser and shit. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm okay for them to stay dead. That's fine.
They were so fun to scratch and splice them and stuff.
Oh my god, that'd be fucking awesome.
Too fragile of a piece of physical medium. Just so fragile.
Ooh, that'd be a good piece of swag though for that one game that's coming out. Mixtape, is that what it's called?
Mixtape, yeah.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, I think the last cassette that we got as swag was in the original Fortnite kit that came out in 2017. Do you remember they sent a Walkman, a cassette player?
I wonder if I feel like the Battletoads one might have had one in there too.
It was fake. It had USB
fake.
inside.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah.
It was an illusion.
It was.
Well, Riana, I thought Hades 2 was going to be it for you, but apparently another game has made your list.
It has. I was actually playing last night, and okay, hear me out.
Okay.
I know every time we talk about playing games, I say I don't have time to play another game, but it's because I've been playing X-Defiant.
I knew you were going to get into this game.
I can't help it. So we saw early access to this game as well last year, and we've been hearing a lot about it. This is from Ubisoft, and it's their take on an arena shooter. So there's all kinds of modes that you can play, and you have different classes of support characters or assault characters or recon characters, and they're all from the different Ubisoft worlds. So, there's Ghost Recon folks who can go invisible or get intel on where everybody else is on the map, or there's people from Far Cry and Libertad where they can heal everybody on the map or just heal themselves. You have cleaners from, what's that game? The Division. They have some additional DPS with fire effects on all of their weapons, and they're a little bit tankier. So there's all kinds of different slants on the character classes that you're playing as, but it's first and foremost a really tight shooter. It feels great. Time to kill is short, so you don't feel cheated. If you found somebody and you shot them, they're dead. It's not quite as brutal as Valorant, which I cannot play. But it's a little bit snappier than Call of Duty. It's something in the middle. It's a good sweet spot for me personally. The games are quick. You can get into one pretty fast. Matchmaking has been fantastic. And one of the things that they touted when they were marketing this game is that they don't have any skill-based matchmaking in unranked. So you're playing against whoever you get. And it's been working out really well. I've won as many games as I felt like I should have won, if that's the easiest way to sort of like give my opinion on it. And it's so much fun. Like the battle pass is really solid. The skill upgrade path makes sense. If you use a certain gun type, you get more guns of that type. If you use your different support things, you unlock stuff in the battle pass. And it's just a really yummy shooter. Like it just feels good to play. It feels good to run around. I know where people are. There's not too much verticality. There's some maps that are just straight up 3 lanes and it feels perfect to me. And they're adding more stuff. Team deathmatch is right around the corner. They already took out the cheating ass bunny hop mechanic that people can't do on controller. like they're really responsive to the community so far, and I'm really loving it. There's a lot of things that they can be improved upon, obviously. Some more interesting gun skins, like if they were making weapons from all of these Ubisoft worlds, that might be a little bit more interesting than your typical standard, ACR, Vector, P90. But there's time. They've made a very easy shooter. You can play on anything. It's cross-play on whatever you want to play it on. It's free. Like, I don't know. It's just this has been scratching a certain itch for me. And I've been going back and forth between Call of Duty and X-Defiant, and I've been noticing I'm playing more X-Defiant more often.
Oh.
I really enjoyed our time playing X-Defiant as well. Like, I'm with you that I want to see more from the broader Ubisoft universe in regards to original IP being integrated into what would otherwise be a pretty generic arena shooter.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen that yet. They did announce this new faction, GSK, and I was kind of like, wah, wah. We were kind of hoping for something more like Assassins. That was what we asked the 8-Ball about. But I'm with you that this was better than I expected it to be. Having played it, when it was in early access and played it, in previews, I was like, oh, it feels fine, but it didn't particularly feel like fun enough that I would walk away from Fortnite or walk away from Call of Duty or Zombies or even Rainbow Six, right? Like, because sometimes I boot up a Ubisoft game and I'm just like, that's all I want to do is play Rainbow. But it's been so long since I played Rainbow that I am not up on the meta. And when I get in there, I get my booty whooped. But that's what's so interesting about them not having a dedicated rank mode. I know that they are obviously kicking things off in competitive X-Defiant, and I think that eventually they're probably going to have to give those upper end players a place to play while letting casuals still not feel like they're getting whomped on all the time. But we'll see what happens with those plans later on. They clearly know what they're doing in the competitive space, as evidenced by all of the other esports initiatives that Ubisoft has with their titles. So I, just want to see more cool stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Also, shout out to Hotshot Mode. I know it's just kill confirmed on steroids, but it's fucking fun. It's great.
Well, this was a pretty good list of games. Obviously not a fully comprehensive list. It never is. There are some, I think, notable games that we hope to spend more time with and talk about later in the year. One of them for me is Princess Peach Showtime.
Oh.
That came out, and I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, but I'm very excited to check that out. A game that a lot of other people talked about that came out this year was Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yes.
So that game had a few issues at launch that I think that they are resolving, and hopefully will get, locked up in the not too distant future. Another game, Tekken 8, was a game that a lot of people are looking at with potential Game of the Year nods coming later in the year. And Riana, I will say, I was a little surprised we didn't hear about Prince of Persia from you.
I was looking at Prince of Persia and Tales of Kinzera Zhao. I need to play more of both. That's why I haven't put them on the list, because I know that they're, especially for Tales of Kinzera Zhao, there's a lot of story element that I would also like to comment on, but I haven't played enough of it yet. But yeah, the 2D was it Metroidvanias are eating right now. They're doing great. There's a lot.
There's a lot coming this year. Like a lot.
Whew, a whole lot.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot. I'm like looking at the list now and being like, oh my gosh, like we didn't even talk about Animal Well or Senua's Saga. And there's still too many to name.
Yeah.
So many. Also, Destiny 2 The Final Shape, I put in my like nods because it's so good, you guys. It's so good.
Oh, yay.
And I'm going to need a whole separate podcast to talk about it.
Yes, I will be here. I'll bring the popcorn. I'll bring
Excuse
whiskey.
me. Thank you. Bring the popcorn.
Yeah, that little Cupid doll is up to no good, man. Up to no good. Being cute and evil. Killing everybody. It's still adorable. I'm sorry. Like, I can't get over the big eyes. Like, it just looks like a little doll. Like, oh.
I mean, have you seen horror movies, Lori? You can't trust dolls.
That's true. I don't fuck with dolls, but
Yeah, don't.
The Witness.
Very alien looking
Different.
for sure. Yes. He does definitely look cute in a way that I think is not intended.
What's it called?
The Witness?
The Witness.
The
Okay.
big bad in Destiny.
But it's adorable.
That's what the fuck?
Yeah, that's the appropriate reaction when looking up a photo.
Wait,
of
what
the
picture
Witness.
did you look at? Hold
Look
on.
like-
The
looks
guy that looks like he has like a fucking turtleneck up to his nose.
Yeah?
Yep, that's about right.
Right,
And then like
no,
a cloud coming out of his head.
Wait, what image are you looking at? Is
I mean, it
cute
is hard to
face?
take it seriously.
Little eyeballs.
It looks like a
Oh.
Pixar creation.
Ooh, yes, very Pixar. I see it.
That's fair. Wow,
Yeah.
what's wrong with its head?
Now everybody on podcast is listening going, now do I have to Google what the Witness
you
looks
do.
like? And
you really, truly.
I don't know. I think it's cute. Maybe I'm weird. Who knows?
I mean, we already covered how weird you are with how hot you thought Poseidon in Fortnite was. So
Okay, that's not my fault. I didn't draw him that way. I'm not the
he did have weird,
Made 'em all sexy.
defined muscles for like a gelatinous glob. of a
Wait, the
character.
the Jello dude?
The Jello
Oh
dude.
baby, all you need is a paper bag and you'll be fine. Just throw it over his head. I can
Just
get
throw
down
it
with
over
that.
his head. Are you saying he's a butterface? No.
Absolutely.
It's
I
a
mean,
little
I'm sorry.
goopy. A little goopy in the face.
Okay, that's like a smiley face with a body. That's what that is.
It's like when you draw and you're a kid and all you can draw is like certain body parts and you don't know how to draw a face yet. You just put 2 dots in a line.
Turns out
This
that's
buff
how I draw
ass
faces
physique.
well into adulthood. So.
That's literally it. Oh God. Wow.
Man.
Oh my goodness. Well, we know that there's probably some games that y'all want to nominate. So leave us a comment on this video, tweet to us, write to us, let us know what you have played this year that is on your personal Game of the Year so far list and what you're looking forward to coming up that could potentially be on your list by the end of the year. So much to pick from.
So much.
We're not even
So
going to
much.
open that door. Instead, we're going to say thanks for listening, everybody. We hope you had a wonderful holiday summer break here in the States. And we will be back soon with another episode. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.